we go back. This is the moment. Tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over. So we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us. Here we go back. This is the
Yes, sir, everybody. Ceiling cannot hold Forte Yard Dash anymore. Forte Yard Dash has broken through. Here I am, Mo Kamish, doing my little weekly recap. I know, day late, dollar short is what it is. It happens. Great week this week overall for myself, among a few other members of the league. I've been enjoying the talk the last few weeks, so I just want to do a few updates. One, as far as long-term free agency, because I'm not counting Adam Scheffner because he quit the league, it looks like it is going to be week 12. That does not have as much of an impact on it now as it used to, strictly because I think a lot of the people who had the issue, their players are now going to come back. So it's looking like week 12 for that. Go ahead and put that into your calendar books. I have also really enjoyed how everyone at Eric's injury post have been incorrect about DeMarco Murray, Doug Martin, basically anybody that has to do with this team, and then talking trash on top of that, saying that he doesn't need my players. But the fact is, he does. Without my players, his team's nothing. It continues to be nothing. He's dropping. I don't know what's happening here. I'm getting all these alerts. He's dropping day by day. A little bit farther noted in, Eric, please never do whatever you did on your last post with that whole get up costume. I don't even know what that is. That looks disgusting. It's gross. And I would also like to tell Doug Mostrom, I have the best beard. So quit trying to grow yours. You can't do it as well as your older bro. Let's get into the weekly recap. And we will start with myself over Derek Lehman, the Fence Hopper. I did also want to note that the titles, NFL.com is right on this week. Multiple titles that look very interesting. I love the one that says Forte Yard Dash embarrasses the Fence Hopper, drops him to 4th place overall. Exactly what I did do. Calvin Johnson, again, thank you, Derek, puts up nearly 51 points for me. Second most receiving yards ever in the history of the NFL. This trade's looking better and better to me every single time I watch Calvin Johnson play. And yes, I'm watching the Lions now just because of that. Did get pretty solid games out of pretty much everybody besides my kicker. Everyone scored in double digits. My pickup Peyton Hillis for the week got me 11.5, which is great because I didn't have actual Matthew Forte and Forte Yard Dash. But, everybody did their job. They scored a touchdown, enough reception, enough yards to make it work. Looking over at the Fence Hopper, Sidney Rice, tore ACL, out for the year. That stinks. 0 points. That did not help him. Danny Amendola, coming back from injury, 4.5 points, also didn't help him. In fact, as I say this every week, it gets repetitive. The only two people on this team that did anything, Aaron Rodgers, Adrian Peterson, a combined 44 points, which is almost half the points he scored this whole week. Looking into it, that keeps me in first place overall in the West at 4-4. Keeps the Fence Hopper at first place still at 5-3, but it does drop him to number 4 overall, while I stay at 6 overall. Into the next game, and again, I do love the title of this one. Unnecessary Fisting waxes Duke. Again, it pretty much sums that up very, very well. Over doubled his score thanks to his big trades. Dwayne Bowe, 1.7 points for Derek. As I talked about in my weekly preview last week, he has Riley Cooper and Zach Ertz starting from Philadelphia. I never liked that. They put up a combined 4.8, and Edelman 2.7. The one bright spot he did have is Zach Stacy did have a great game, 13.9. However, as things never tend to go well for Derek, he is now injured as well. On the last series of the game, ankle injury, looks like there's a good chance he may be out this week. For Andy, he continues to be blessed by the schedule gods no matter what, as he would have got beat by multiple teams this week, but instead got Duke. Romo, Bush, Bryant, all over 20 points. Great games for them. However, Julius Thomas with his injury, who knows how that's looking. He says it's looking good. He only put up 5.9, and Brandon LaFell, who he keeps throwing out there, 5.3 points. Something to watch with Andy's team, Tony Gonzalez. He's not happy right now. This is last season. And he only put up 5.6 this week. Teams are really strangleholding him right now. And it's not looking good. Not looking good for the future for him. So, also, that makes me 2-0 for the week, as I obviously picked that game. In Game 3, the Prodigy drops the hammer on I Love Mike Ditka. Puts him in 11th place. Congratulations, Doug. You are now in 11th place. I Love Mike Ditka's in 11th place. So you actually dropped to the 11th spot. 2-6 overall for Ditka, 3rd in the East. And Doug is 10th overall, 2nd in the North, and stays there. But, this game I thought was going to be a lot closer than what it was. We had about a 40-point win for Doug, and it's not because his team necessarily played great. It's because I Love Mike Ditka played that bad. Outside of Matthew Stafford, he had 5 or 6 players combined scored as many points as Matt Stafford. And when Stafford only puts up 28, that's not a good thing. After all the trash talk, I think Mike Ditka has finally been put to rest, and he hasn't yet. He will be after this week. By yours truly. On the good side for the Prodigy, McFadden. He ran better than he's ran in years. 22 points. McCluster had maybe one of his best games of the fantasy year with 20. Welker, another 20-point game. Lacey looking strong with over 20. Very solid overall outing. He wouldn't be Andy if they went head-to-head, but 127 is a good week for Doug. I'm looking forward to his matchup this week with Eric. I don't know who I picked in that game. I'm going to have to double-check that one. Pierce Brosnan beat up on the Dutch oven, is what it says. 188 to 152. I put this one as the matchup of the week last week. Held strong, held to its standards. Drew Brees over 40 for Dustin. Nelson over 30. Moreno is just having a career year, over 25. Emmanuel Sanders, 24. And the kicker scored 20 for Dustin. So Dustin's best week he's had. He's had a couple very strong weeks in a row, though, so maybe look out for him a little bit. Dutch Oven keeps getting kind of screwed week after week. I don't know what to say, Scott. I don't know. Besides Giovanni Bernard, really, your team played right up to standard or above their capabilities in every single position. So, even Demaryius Thomas, Stevie Johnson both put up over 20. Newton, 32, best week he's had. Yeah, I didn't make the schedule for you on purpose. I'm sorry. Nonetheless, you're in my division, so I'm pretty happy about it. You dropped to 3-5. Basically 2 games behind me as I hold the tiebreaker as of right now. Pierce Brosnan technically moves up to 3rd overall, as he has a better record than the Fence Hopper now, and he stays in 2nd in the South, right behind the Rectal Renegades, who won against the Vinegar Strokes. Eric just cannot get the job done. I don't know. Eric's team's looking like it's hurting right now. I don't know if he needs to make a trade. I don't know if he needs to make something happen. But what he's doing is obviously not working at this point. He keeps dropping. He can't catch Derek Lehman at this point. He's throwing out Darren Sproles every week. Sproles had 4 points. 4 points this week. Geno Smith, 3 points. Rob Hausler, 2 points. Zach Miller, 3 points. He's throwing out 2 tight end sets. He can say all he wants about his buys and his injuries and whatever for this past week and this week. The facts are, if he loses again this week, he's out of the playoffs as of right now. So a little bit of an uphill climb. Josh Gordon, Andre Ellington did have great weeks for him. Ellington had a fantastic run, which basically made this game a lot closer than what it really was. As Jason had Manning throw out another 30 points. Dobson, great game, with 16. Maurice Jones-Drew, last couple of weeks have been playing good, 18 points. But again, Jason put up 133, not a fantastic total, but enough to beat a lot of these other teams when they're on buys. So nice one, Jason. He stays in 1st in the division. Eric, as we talked about, stays in 2nd in the East and 5th overall because he has... Why are you 5th overall? I don't know. I don't know why you're 5th overall, considering the fact that I have a better divisional record and more points scored, and our record's the same. I'm disagreeing with it. I'm going to have to figure that one out. And in our final game, powered by a signature performance from Golden Tate, the final answer gets late rally on Team 10. And probably the worst game I've ever been a part of scoring-wise so far this year. 94-71, Mike Samuels gets the victory. really because of Golden Tate at this point. Finally, Ansem moved up a few spots. He's still third in the South, but 9th overall with his 3-5 record. And Jared drops back down to 12th overall, last in his division at 3rd. I know I did not pick that one. I don't know what I picked on some of these, but so I'm going to have to recap my record later on anyways. Gosh. Golden State Tate scored 26, Larry Fitz 15, Roethlisberger 13, Crosby 17, everybody else in single digits for Mike, and then literally everybody in single digits for Jared besides Le'Veon Bell and Cecil Shorts. I actually did try to place a trade over to Jared, a 2-for-1 type deal to make his team a little bit deeper. I know he's building for the long term. I was willing to give him a couple solid contracts to build long term, but he was not willing to do the 2-for-1 transaction. So that possibly hurt him a little bit this week, as his depth is he doesn't have a lot of depth right now, basically. So congratulations, Mike. I don't know. Did you say something about a winning streak or something? I don't think you won last time. Who knows? Anyways, next week he goes up against Unnecessary Fisting, a.k.a. Andy, so we probably know how that's going to end. And Team 10 gets Dutch Oven, another high-scoring team, so not looking good for either of those teams. So a little recap of the standings. In the North, we have Andy, Doug, and then Jared, 7-1, 3-5, and 2-6 respectively. Rectal Renegades and Pierce Brosnan leading the way in the South at 6-2, with Mike 3-5 holding up the rear. And Derek Lehman 5-3 leading the East, with Eric just behind him at 4-4, and I Love Mike Dicka at 2-6. And in the Powerhouse West, 4-4, Forte or Dash leading the way, with Dutch Hoven and Duke at 3-5. So as another reminder, only a couple more weeks as far as long-term free agency goes, meaning when you pick up a player, you cannot sign them to a long-term contract. That's going to be ending shortly. By this point, I have not got anything whatsoever from anybody in the trophy, so I will figure something out basically at this point, so nobody can be upset about it, because I opened it up to everybody. Power rankings, I'm first in that too. I'm looking solid right now. I'm liking my team. I am looking to make a running back trade possibly for somebody who's looking for a little bit more depth in the future, as I do have still some really good contracts to present. Even though people, aka Eric, refuses to trade according to his new Facebook thing. Whatever, that's fine. Be jealous. It's your life. Alright guys, I will try to be back tomorrow for my weekly picks. Hopefully I have a little bit more new information for you. And this video is taken, it's 12.5 minutes. I'm done. I will see you guys next time. Doug, keep working on your beard.